Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here, Chris, from New York, Westchester County. It's 6/17, 22. Well, guys, things I have to tell you I can't really say, but let's start off with the state of the country. Well, it was pretty fine about 8 months ago, but then it went to shit. That's right, it went to shit. In less than a year time, we managed to hike up gas prices to almost $6. Fuel, that is, to almost $6 for regular. God knows what it is for 93 now, probably well into the $7 range. Anyway, we managed to overrun our areas with illegals that are crossing the border illegally. And they're picking them up by bus, shipping them over to the airports, and neatly distributing them throughout the states because of politics. All of this is because of politics. That's what all of this is because of. You see, when you have somebody who's running a country, who owns his own business and who's a multi-billionaire, he knows what he's doing. When you have somebody who has been working in the private sector for a year and a half to 2 years at best, and the rest of his life as a fucking politician, what do you think you're gonna get? A disaster. Okay? A disaster. See, any normal president of the US, what they would do is say, this place is a mess. We've got to clean it up. But he created it. That's right, Biden. You created it. Anyway, I don't even think he knows what's going on. I think in his world, he thinks everything is great. It's fucking marvelous, you know? Everything is hunky-dory. Everybody's getting along nicely, you know, as long as we serve each community, you know, in the proper way. If you are white and you are a male and you're in your 40s or 50s, you are probably the hated most person in the US right now. Oh man, it really, and if you're heterosexual too, you got to add that in. Anyway, what I'm getting at is anybody, and you know this is all bullshit. I mean, all of it. This has been created to go into the next phase, of course. This whole inflation and all this is just because of fuel prices. That's all it is. You see, everything is run here by fuel in my state, in your state, in the entire country, in the entire world. Okay? One little problem with fuel and everything will go to shit. All you got to do is just reopen the pipeline, tell everybody we're going to be fracking, and those gas prices will come down in less than 3 hours. I mean, drastically. But the government doesn't allow that. They've made new rules for you. Just like they have rules that you can't go in certain places, like, for example, Antarctica. I can't go down there freely on my own will and take a boat. You know, I mean, you need a battleship in order to get down there with all the shit you have to stock. But I can't freely go down there and investigate down there, you know? Just like none of us could go in and try to find oil, because if you do and you start making money, they're going to tax you on it, and they'll extra tax you on it, and it's never ending. They think they're going to go electric. This is an excuse to make people think that they need to go electric when all of us know that's not going to happen. It's not a feasible idea. We're just not set up for it, and we never will be set up for it. It'll take 50 years to set something up like that, not 5 days. We don't have the technology, the batteries suck. So many problems with electric cars, they're exploding, you name it. But they don't have a combustible engine, isn't that good? I want to get into a couple things just real quick. Once you realize that we live on a flat stationary land covered with a dome, we'll be there. Once you realize that the politicians are nothing but crooked liars, and all they do is make a career out of it, and voting is a waste of time, it doesn't do anything, we'll be there. Once you realize that the sun and the moon do not work together, that they're two separate objects, we'll be there. Once you realize that those are not mountains behind me over there, we'll be there. Once you realize that we're stealing technology from other civilizations that existed before us, and they went through the Great Reset, and we possibly could be going through that reset right now, we'll be there. Once you realize sports, prejudice, Democrats, Republicans, television, and Hollywood are all distractions, we'll be there. Once you realize that video games have been created to distract you, to keep you inside your house locked up thinking about something else, we'll be there. Once you realize that you have so much far more potential than you can possibly ever imagine, that you can manifest ideas to truth, we'll be there. Until you realize that the earth is flat, until you realize that we're covered with a dome, that we're stationary, that there is no space, that NASA's bullshit, it's another distraction. Don't people think about this shit at all? That all of a sudden, the space race, what happened to it? What happened to it? Back in the 50s, we had more fucking technology to get out to Mars than we do now. I mean, to get out to the moon than we do now. But we're trying to get to Mars. They're working on it real hard. Yeah, that's right. It's pretty funny. They think they're working on it, but I don't know what they're working off of. I don't know where they're getting their computations of when space does not exist at all. And they're getting paid for that. And you're paying them. It's nice. It's a Friday, and I wanted to just give you a couple things to think about over the weekend, you know. I mean, really, everything that's happened in less than 70 years, nobody's questioned it, you know. That all of a sudden, we're launching off rockets when we weren't launching shit off at all, ever. And now we're all of a sudden just starting to do it, you know, that all these companies now are trying to get up to space and say they're going to be tourisms. I just heard there's going to be a hotel in space. I think it's happening this year too. You know, I mean, it's just insane. It's crazy, and none of it's going to come about. None of it. None of it. Whether they create something that's going to cause them to say, hey, look, you know, we got to put this on hold. I don't know. Who knows? But I can guarantee you that none of it is ever going to happen. And it never, ever will. Just like the sun and the moon and the stars will always be in the same exact position for all through time. It's never going to change. It's much more comforting living in and knowing what we live in than think that we're spinning around in space, this helpless little blue marble or whatever the fuck you want to call it. That's bullshit. Endlessly in the universe. And I mean, really, you know, and how could the universe be 14 billion years old when we have stars that are twice as old as that? It's just all bullshit. It's all nonsense. It's a game. It's there to keep the idea going. And until people wake up, and until they wake up and just say, hey, something's wrong here, something doesn't make any sense, you are going to be indoctrinated for the rest of your fucking life. It's much easier knowing what we know. It's comforting because it answers a lot of questions. I thank you for subbing. I thank you for viewing my videos. Let me be a part of your life.